back to my workshop. Now Christmas is coming. That's a time for goodwill to all men, especially fathers, who have to produce presents for their grown-up daughters. Now as luck would have it, I have two grown-up daughters, so therefore this year I need to produce two presents. And I thought, being as they are now grown-up sophisticates, it's about time I made them a grown-up sophisticated handbag each. So that's what this video is all about. Now I've got this nice piece of vegetable tan leather, and it is a sort of a light brown, tobacco brown type colour. This is probably one of the most popular colours I use. It's a lovely piece of leather. Now I'm going for what I think is quite a sophisticated design, so I've made myself a template. This is the top, this is the bottom. If you're feeling less sophisticated, of course, you can always have it that way around and have a bucket bag. But we're sophisticated in this household. So the first job is to cut a few pieces out. Now I've had a good look at my piece of leather. There's a couple of marks on it I need to watch out for. There's one there and there's one there. Now as always, we're working on the back of the leather. We don't want to mark the front at all if we can avoid it. There you are, I managed to get all four pieces out of that, with plenty of bits left over for all those little handles and bits and pieces that we need. And if this isn't enough, it's alright, I've got another piece as well. So I'll quickly cut that lot out. Now I'm going to try not to bore you with too much "this is how it's done" information in this video. Now we don't throw these bits away, we'll save them, because there's all manner of little belts and buckles and things we're going to need to make. So we'll save that. So the first real thing I'm going to make is the handles. So here's one of the straps that I've cut. And what I want to do is to have this kind of shape at the bottom, which sort of mirrors the outline of the bag, albeit in reverse. So what I've done is I've cut myself a little template, and then I can get exactly the same shape at the bottom of each strap. There you are, that's the end. So I'll do that all the way around. Once I've then stitched and marked all the way around there, that's going to look really quite smart. Now I'm not going to take you through step by step how to make everything on this bag. There's enough of my other videos. If you need to know how to start stitching, have a look at some of those. So what I'm going to do for this video is show you some of the more unusual bits of this bag. So the first thing I've done is I've made a couple of handles. Here we are, there's a couple of handles. Now there's a lot of different designs for handles. I mean, you could just have a piece of leather like that, fasten it there and there, and that's quite a decent handle. The downside of that is, of course, this is rather thick. So if you've got a little hand, or even you've got a big hand like mine, it's very uncomfortable to hold. So you need something thinner than that. If you make it thinner that way, then you reduce the amount of strength. Doing it this way, you get the best of both worlds. You keep the strength, but you reduce the overall thickness. And if you've got two handles, like this, it's still not uncomfortable to hold. At least I don't think so anyway, what do I know? But that makes it comfortable. The downside from the maker's point of view is this is an awful lot of stitching. When you consider that if you're good at stitching, you'll do somewhere between 30 and 40 centimetres an hour, you know, that's an hour and a half's work. But I've just used 2 hours just making the handles. I haven't got anywhere near the bag. That's why when you go to craft fairs and see leather makers, everything's riveted or done in such a way that you reduce the amount of stitching. So in order to make one of these, all you do is you come in from the end a certain distance, and you choose what that distance is going to be, and then you just stitch mark all the way along, and then you leave a gap at that end as well. And then all you do is you fold the leather like that, and then you just start stitching your way along. It's as simple as that. What I'm doing on this bag is something slightly unusual. I'm using these magnetic buckles, which are rather good. And so I'm going to have a little strap that's going to go up and over the top of the bag just to sort of hold the two halves of it together. But obviously I can't just sort of put that through there because it's going to look as ugly as sin. So I need to do another piece. So what I'm doing, which is slightly unusual, is I'm going to get the two pieces in place, sew them together, and then I'm just going to trim up around the edges. And what will that do is it means the whole thing will be much neater. So that piece will go on there like that, and then I'll sew those two pieces together, and then that's ready to be sewed onto the bag. Now, as you can see, I've marked the stitches all the way around, and I'm also holding it together with these little tacks. This is all to hold it in place, give me a fighting chance as I stitch it. You could glue it if you wanted to, but there's a couple of downsides to that. A, you've got to wait for the glue to dry, but also it then stiffens the whole thing. And this is supposed to be a very flexible piece. I mean, once I put the stitches in, it'll stiffen up anyway. But I want it to remain reasonably flexible. That's why I thinned out a lot of the depth of the leather. Now, when I start stitching, I put a little dot there. You obviously, I doubt you'll be able to see it, but I'm going to start the stitching from there, go down and back again, and then that bit I'll do when I actually attach it to the bag. So as you can see, we've moved on slightly, and we've now got one side of the bag assembled, which is you can start to see the effect that we're going for. I've sewed our little strap there with the buckle in. There's the buckle there, and I've also put the first of the handles on. Now, most unusually for me, I've put a rivet here and here. I've done this for two reasons. The first reason is it adds a little tiny bit of strength here and here. Obviously, this is the weak part of the bag. This is where all the strain and all the weight. I mean, I make no comment about the weight that will be in a lady's handbag. That's nothing to do with me. But these are the two weak points. So if you put a rivet in there, you just reinforce that, you add a bit of extra strength. And also it's a design feature, it looks quite nice, it just draws the eye. As there aren't any other buckles or clips or anything else to sort of break up the eye, just by putting in a couple of bits of rivets there, it just sort of breaks up the pattern of the bag. Gives it a little bit of texture. I'm not sure if that's right, but it works for me. So now I'm just going to get on and I'm going to do all the other three sides, and I'm ready to start sewing it all together. So we've reached a point where we're ready to start putting the sides on. Now there's two ways you can do this. You could go through doing one piece at a time, and you'd sew along the bottom, then you'd sew up there. But you've still got this corner to sew. So, having never done a bag this shape before, I'm going to try two ways. So what I've done is I've sewn up the edges there. So that I can sew along the bottom, and then I'll come up the edge. I'll see how I get on. If it doesn't work very well, then the next time, for the next bag, I'll do it the other way around. If you'd like to get in touch with me, there's all the usual methods, which can be seen on the bottom of the screen at the moment. I always like to hear from people, especially the nice ones. Not so fussed by the ones who are rude. We don't get many of those, so that's alright. Now the work I do is changing slightly. I'm making less videos because I have to earn a living the rest of the time, but I'm trying to write more books. So every now and again I try and do a big video or a big project that comes with a project book. So obviously I would encourage you to go and look at the Fitzrobbie website. You'll see there some of the products I've made, but all my books are there. If you've seen my videos before, or you looked at some of the other ones on my channel, you'll know I do like a bit of food smoking and a bit of cooking, and I do like to make an oven or two. I've been invited to talk at some food festivals in the last 18 months or so, which I must admit I've rather enjoyed. It gets me a slightly different audience, and they look at things slightly differently. So my next big project is going to be a new type of barbecue oven that I've thought of. And this is going to be a sort of a commercial size barbecue oven, but portable. So if you'd like to see how I get on with that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Makes quite a difference to my life. The more subscribers, the better. Now, not all of the projects that I do make it onto video. In fact, nowhere near as many. If you'd like to keep up with what I'm doing, you can always have a look at the blog. The details are on the bottom of the screen. Or recently I've started posting pictures on Instagram. So if you want to have a look at those, well, look at that, there's two the same. That doesn't happen very often, does it? I'm rather proud of those. Now, we could, if we wanted to, just stop at that. They're fine looking bags, they're perfectly fine. You know, everyone would be very happy with those, I feel sure. I mean, we still need to put the little buckle in there, but that's 10 seconds worth of work. And they could do with a quick polish. But I think we can do a bit better than that. There's another stage we can take which will make them look even better. Improve them even further. Is that possible, I hear you cry? Well, you're just going to have to come back and see the next video and find out how that happens. Don't worry, it won't take long because Christmas is coming and daughters need their presents. So in the meantime, thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Whilst you're waiting for the next one to be posted, why not go and have a look at some of the other ones? You never know, you might enjoy those as well. There's always the danger. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.